What it do, what it does, what it really be like. I know it's been a while, but this is Black Earl, aka Dr. H.A.A.S, and this is the Doctor's Orders podcast. I know this is beginning to be a little bit it's starting to be repetitive, but I'm gonna say it again anyway. My bad for the delay, slipping on the podcast and whatnot. It's been a few weeks, I know, since I released one. Hell, I put out episode 6, man. Messed around, bro. I don't know what happened with the audio. It wound up uploading a blank episode. Wondering why nobody was giving it spins, and a week later I figured out it was a blank episode. So I went ahead and re-uploaded that episode 6. If any of y'all didn't get a chance to catch that, gave up on me after you heard the blank dog. But yeah, we got that straightened out. Episode 6 is in the mix and in the archives. Go peep that out. But yeah, man, that was damn near a month ago, bro. I know you can hear it in my voice. I'm a little exhausted, a little tired, but that's what real hustlers do. You dig? Play through the pain and become a diamond under pressure. That's what we doing. So just bear with me as I get through this probably short limited edition, episode 7 of the Doctor's Orders, because it's getting late, man. Brother got to be to work in the AM, but as is, I just wanted to get that out the way, say that I was sorry, because I truly am. For those of y'all that do religiously listen to your boy, I appreciate that though. But for any new listeners, appreciate y'all for giving me the attention this evening, morning, or afternoon, whenever you decided to put this in your earlobes. So, moving right along, just to keep it real with y'all, that last minute standing, I know I say that often, but it's definitely on the way, ASAP fast. Got off the phone with Ski Bell a couple hours ago, so we're gonna make this happen. Get the ball bouncing right in time, cause it's that spring season and leading into the summer. You already know that's when everybody want to get their cars cleaned and got all the track meets and basketball tournaments. The community tends to congregate around these times, so we definitely gonna have a soundtrack for the spring and summer season. So bear with me. Shout out to everybody that's been following us too, man. We've been trying to keep this ball rolling. I know it's been a little we've abstained a little bit from putting out anything new, but it's coming. Be very patient. It's also been brought to my attention, man. Folk want that old CD, man, that old QTP. Shout out to Lil Black and Lil Rob and Trey Main and Fee and T, and I mean the whole camp. That was 15, almost 20 years ago, and people are demanding that one back. So, we ain't gonna hold you up, bro. As soon as Last Man Standing come out, we will be putting out that old QTP re-released. May or may not have some bonus tracks. We ain't sure yet. Have to holler at the bear about that and see what's up and get together as a clique and make some decisions. But it will be coming very soon. So stay tuned. It's still H.A.A.S, QTP for life. Man, 2019 gonna bring a gang of projects to be 100. Check out. This guy ain't gonna even speak on it. Keep your eyes peeled, cause it's gonna be some gonna be announced, some gonna be and we're gonna see what happens with those. But give me a little minute, man. We're gonna be back in the mix, and that's where we at with it. So moving right along, I'm gonna bring it to the latest diagnosis. I know a lot of y'all been paying attention to R. Kelly and Michael Jackson and what Trump and his camp got going on. But man, we always overlook the positivity in the community. Shout out to Jaden Smith, man, Will Smith's son. Straight up and down, man. This man, he clicked up with the local church out in Flint, Michigan. They've been having a water crisis. He's the co-founder of a company called Just Water. So he hooked up with this church in Flint to create a mobile filtration system so these people can finally have some fresh water in their homes to do what they need to do. Man, man, give a hand clap of praise and a round of applause for that alone, because it's been forever and a day. Honestly, I mean, it's been years. It ain't even been a couple of weeks. It's been years, man. Matter of fact, reports say it was 1,774 days. Is that? I don't know how accurate that is. I can't quote a source, but that's entirely too long. That shit is ridiculous. So shout out to Jaden, man. From what I'm understanding, the way it works is It'll pull up at the community, at a church in the community. People could come bring a container of their choosing to fill it up with fresh water. The machine, the filtration system, it's called the water box. It produces up to 10 gallons of clean water per minute. Like I said, residents will come swoop through with their containers so they can gather up some fresh water because theirs has been poisoned with lead for over 1,700 days, almost 1,800 days. So shout out to Jaden Smith. Give him the props that he deserves, man, because we always overlook the positivity. So shout out to him. In other news, y'all already know what time it is whenever we say March. I was just speaking on the track meets and the basketball tournaments, nothing bigger than NCAA March Madness for the 2019 collegiate basketball title. That is finally going to be underway. I believe it starts Friday, something like that, March 22nd or 21st, something around that. Um, it's pretty cool for us down here in the South, man. LSU is a 3 seed out there in the West bracket. Shout out to my folks out there in Houston. U of H is a number 3 seed in the Midwest. As for the historically black colleges, I know past couple of years we had a little bit of representation, but neither Southern or Grambling made it. Unfortunately, them boys ain't get in there this year. But man, shout out down the road right there across the border in Texas, man. Prairie View University. They're in as a first four in the first four group. They more likely to be knocked out in the earlier rounds of the tournament, being as they're lower caliber squad. But man, we just give them props for getting to the tournament, man. Shout out to them. The number 1 seeds, Duke, of course. Shout out to Zion. Virginia is the number 1 seed. North Carolina, UNC, and the Zags, Gonzaga. Those are your number 1 seeds. I don't really participate in filling out the brackets, but if you guys do, most likely to succeed would be one of these 4 I just mentioned. Don't sleep on LSU. Like I said, they the 3 seed out in the West. Don't sleep on them. I see them doing big things. Same thing for U of H. I see them boys doing big things in the tournament. You know, I would say lead 8. Should maybe I ain't gonna make a push and say Final Four, but I give them a lead 8. Sweet 16. If they don't make it to the Sweet 16, to me that's a disappointment. So as for LSU, I see similar outcome. I see them going all the way to the Final Four, really. But we gonna find out. We're gonna find out shortly. So shout out to them young men, ladies and gentlemen, playing NCAA basketball. I don't have too much information on the women's bracket, but that tournament also will be underway. So you guys be sure to pay attention to that. Like I said, get your brackets ready. Put your money where your mouth is, whatever the case may be. Yep. So that right there, that was your latest diagnosis. We're gonna keep it rolling, man. I'm gonna give you the double dose. The topic of discussion for today's podcast is gonna be we're gonna talk about legacy. Um, More preferably the way I like to call it, leave a stain on the game. Now, I know when most people hear the word stain, the first thing that comes to mind is negativity. You know, like you done spilled some red wine or some grape juice on your mama's carpet, or you might have had something to eat that you got all white on, and you done stained your shirt or your all white pants or your shoes or whatever. When you think of the word stain, you think of negativity. You think of tarnished. You think of damaged. You think of irreversible. Um, that's not the case when I'm talking about legacy today. When I say leave a stain on the game, it's more or less about what's your lasting impression. You know what I'm saying on the people. Whenever you're dead and gone, whenever they burying you, cremating you, whatever, what do you want people to remember you most for? There's so many different ways to dissect that. There's so much to unpack, but I'm gonna go straight into it the best way that I know how. Um, the type of job you work, the type of man you are to your kids, to your spouse. Um, how well do you represent the name that your parents gave you? Those are a few things that I think of when I think of legacy. I think and leaving a stain on the game. You want to leave a positive impression. That's the main thing here. If you notice a negative trend in what your impression you've made, you know what I'm saying, you can make a conscious effort to change that. For example, if you're known to be the guy that most people despise, people don't like your presence, they don't like you to be around them, they don't like what you stand for, and that's been you since junior high and high school and on into the real world as an adult, into adulthood, you're still that person. Chances are you're going to have to do more to reverse that, to make people see you as a better person. And it's not going to be off of what you say, it's not going to be off of empty promises. It's going to be off of what you do. Legacy is built upon your actions. So the better legacy you would like to leave, the better man you need to become, or better woman you need to become. And you have to make a conscious effort to become that. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to put in work. You know. With that being said, you want change. You want change. Now, I mean, I'm gonna get into the positive part in a minute. If you feel like you're already leaving a positive legacy, then great. But right now, I want to speak to the people that may believe that they're leaving a negative legacy as of right now. Um, you want change, but most people don't want to follow rules or guidelines because it's seen as structure, like keeping you in a box. But you need structure to make change. There's no real way to accomplish a goal or make any type of rearrangements to yourself without it. You need the structure, you need the walls, the boundaries, the limits. So, speaking on that, you know that you want to leave a positive stain on the game, right? You want your kids to be like, he was a great dad. He cared for me. He loved me. He took care of me. You want the people, your peers, to be like, yeah, that's a good dude. 100, we could always count on him. But it also has a lot to do with what you want to accomplish. What are you working for? And it's not always your job. I currently work a job that I don't want people to remember me strictly for that. I feel like there's more characteristics to me as a man, that it shouldn't limit me to just what I've done at that particular job. If you know me well, you know the place that I'm speaking of. However, I also need to remember that a lot of positivity is linked to that. People felt like I've done my job well. People feel like I'm a hospitable person, that I'm very kind, that I show empathy. So my whole point is, I may not want that to be my lasting legacy. Hey, such and such worked here for X amount of years and he was great. I want people to be like, hey, man, he was a great dad. He was a great writer. He was a great musician. He done well reaching back to his community. I always want to lend a helping hand to the people in his general circle. That's the legacy I want to leave. So I need to put more focus on what people haven't been seeing, if that makes any sense to you. If you're trying to make a change for the better, do more of the better stuff. If there's something that you want to steer away from, do your best to put more out there for people to see. Give them more than a sample size of what you want to be remembered for. I must take that advice also. I need to take my own medicine. If I want to be known for more than where I work at, then possibly I need to find another place to work, and or double down on the other endeavors that I wish for people to remember me by. I feel like I generally have a kind heart, that I do work well with people, and if anybody is in need, I am usually very dependable and one that you can count on. But maybe I'm not doing enough of that. Maybe I'm not doing enough of showing people who I really am. Maybe I'm not doing enough of this, as in maybe I'm not putting out enough content. Maybe some of you love this podcast but haven't heard enough of it to know if you love it or not, or to know what else to expect from it, or just what else will you get from me as a man. So with that being said, you must double down. And that goes more into what I was talking about for the people that already feel like they've left a positive legacy behind. If you feel like you've done that, great. Continue to do those things that painted that perception or that picture of you to the people. For people to look at you and speak highly of you and look up to you, that's great. That's wonderful. That's what you want. That's the goal. Um, you literally have to continue working, and you want to grow, regardless of how positive you are. Um, I mean, it's called work for a reason. I literally saw a meme on Instagram uh, the other day, just showing an acronym for the word grow, and grow meant God rewards our work. So don't think just because you've already got to the state of positivity that you feel like you need to be at. There's always further you can go. You want to keep pushing. You want to keep making those adjustments to your life to double down and leave that positive impression and that positive legacy. Yes, because legacy, all in all, is basically leaving a positive impression through your work. That's a major part of what legacy is to me. You want to make every decision, work related or otherwise. You need to think about the people that you're leaving your legacy to. Um, in my case, it would be my son. I have to think about my kid. I have to think about what can they see the positive imprint that I'm leaving. Can they see what a good reputation will do for a grown man? The next generation will always follow the lead of the generation behind. They will take the positivity and the good things from it. The bad things, they may try to flip it into something good. Or if they see too much of the bad, they may think that it's okay, and they'll continue to roll like that. So legacy is very important for many more reasons than I mentioned in the beginning. To me, legacy is how I want to be remembered, but the general base of what legacy is what is the future gonna lie? What's gonna lie in the future is what I mean. What will your legacy do for the next generation? What would that empower them and enable them to do? What would that inspire them to be? Uh, God, only God knows. So we really need to figure out what it is about our own personal legacy. See where we're standing as of today. Ask yourself the question that if you die tomorrow and your funeral's next weekend, what do you want people to say about you? And what do you want the focal point to be? You have to work on those things as a man. So I encourage everybody to take a good look at themselves in the mirror, figure out what it is that they're doing, what it is that they're known for, what is the impression that they're putting forward. If you're very happy with it, keep it rolling. Keep it rolling, add on and grow. If you're not happy with it, make a conscious effort to look at yourself and change from the inside out. And I think you'd be surprised and also very proud of what you can do and what your legacy can be, what legacy you can leave. So I'll leave you guys with that one. All right. So yeah, that was your double dose. Talking about leaving a stain on the game. And it's all a legacy game here. We're really trying to play to the end. We're trying to play to the last whistle. We want to leave something for our kiddos, man. Whether it be just lessons or even something monetary or just any type of just the name itself, man. We want to make it your name worth something. And that's what leaving a stain on the game is all about. So moving right along, we're gonna go ahead into the true pill, which kind of also, you know how I do, it plays into, segues into what we've been discussing already. And it comes from a very wise man that I've grown up on. Started out watching this man on Comic View, and then later on the Kings of Comedy. And then as he grew older and I grew older, he became more of a spokesman for the black community, an activist, real deep in the game. Y'all already know it's D.L. Hewley. And he said something that touched me in a very special way. He was saying, and I don't even know if this is his quote, but I know wherever he got it from, it was true to heart. He said, "Knowing something is always easier than saying it out loud." And that came from his D.L. Hewley show on TV1. I seen it on YouTube, but it's I forget when it come on, but it's on TV1, and that's what he had to say. Something is always easier than saying it out loud. Knowing something is always easier than saying it out loud, and that's the truth, man. Because you can look at yourself in the mirror each and every day and know exactly what kind of person you are, what your flaws are, what makes you tick, what holds you back. Um, you can know what habits you need to change. You can know what kind of company you should keep already. Like you could know all of these things, man. And as I spoke on earlier about God rewards our work, it's literally work. You have and making a conscious effort. I know I've repeated that often, but it's a staple to drive this point home and make you understand how serious it is. You have to be able to say it, and not while you're the only person in the room. You have to be able to say it out loud and own it. Own your mistake, your wrongdoing, your negativity, your downfall, whatever it is, man. Own it, and be able to speak on it out loud. It'll work wonders for you as a man or woman, especially if you do desire to change and you do desire to leave a positive legacy. Even for the ones that's already doing what they consider a pretty good job of leaving a decent legacy already. You can never do too much. You can never do too much. And if you've already left a positive stain, you want to continue to do those things that got you that reputation or that built you that nest egg that you're gonna leave to your junior, man, to your little son or daughter. Um, it's gonna take that type of work and effort, and consistency is really the key word when it comes down to what we're trying to build in the long run. It's not the ROI is not gonna be an immediate thing, and I mean if we're truly blessed, we'll be able to at least witness some of the fruits of our labor. But the end game is really on when you're gone. How I look at it. When it comes down to legacy, I would love to be blessed with a long life and and be able to witness and receive my roses while I'm on this earth. But one of the major factors in legacy to me is being able to leave something to my seed. And that means a lot, man. Because we can't, if we we pray that we outlive our children. I'm gonna say it like that. So whenever we get to that stage in our life and they get to that stage in their life, we would like to leave them something. Like to have them a little something, something. And you can't get there by being stubborn and not realizing where your flaws are and what's holding you back and what's keeping you from building that strong legacy, that sense of knowledge and that sense of pride that you can pass down to your little one. It's a truly amazing thing, man. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. So, kind of piggybacking off into that, I guess it's appropriate to go into the refill, and then we'll close this thing out for y'all. I know we ran a little short this rip, but best believe we got bigger, better things coming for y'all. But the refill for the day, that one's gonna come from Proverbs 13:12. Um, and I mean, if you need some real solid proof in the pudding on what I just spoke, if you think what I'm saying is a lie, this straight from the good book. Proverbs 13:22 says, "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children." Excuse me. A good leaves an inheritance to his children's children. My bad. The book take it a step further. I spoke on leaving something for your seed, but in this verse it says to his children's children, your grandchildren, if you will. Um, Man, that's hard, man. That's powerful, cause you have to think about that. That can be broken down into two different ways that I see it. This is how I translate it. Um, you either want to build that reputation to your name, as in your last name that you're trying to pass down, or your seed that you're trying to pass down. You want that knowledge, that reputation, um, just that passing the torch in a trade. You just want to be able to have something on the brain, because possessions are great. They're cool. Matter of fact, some possessions are very, very necessary. But that knowledge, man, can you think about some of those old recipes that your mom probably had, that her mama probably passed down to her, and that she passed down to your mama, and then if your mama got a daughter, she passed it down to the daughter. Tradition. I guess tradition is a good word to describe what I'm trying to say. It's about passing down a tradition. And if that can reach your child and you bring him right, he won't steer from that. If you bring him up right, he won't steer from that. And he will show his child the same thing. Um, I really appreciate what my mama done for me. And I can only pray, hope, and really work towards making sure I can do the same for my child. Love him to death. He a little rowdy right now, but he's only 6, so Lord say the same. We got plenty of time to work this thing out. But the second way that I would interpret it was actually going towards the actual physical. Um, and I don't necessarily mean possession. We live in a day and age to where, well, fortunately and unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, um, the necessities that we need as humans is food, clothing, and shelter. Uh, and in the United States of America, and as it is in any other country on the planet, those all three of those entities cost money, if you will. Um, Say like they say, you can grow your own food. You know, you could make your own clothes. You could build your own shelter. Um, but for the most part, you're buying that product completed already. If I'm making sense, like okay, for example, you'll go to the grocery store. You will buy all of the fruits and vegetables and bread and grains and milk and cheese and meat and whatever, and you're gonna bring that into your home, and you're gonna prepare your meals off of that food that you purchased. Now, when I say go to your home, whether you are renting, you're paying. If you're renting the home that you're in, um, if you are paying a mortgage on the home that you're in, you're paying for it. Um, Even if you just happen to have a lump sum and you purchase your home, it's still purchased. It's bought with money. Clothing is the exact same way. You'll go in the store and purchase the clothing. You own it at that point, but you still have to buy it. And it's yours now. I mean, you can do what you want with it. You can pass it to whoever, they go get it for free. But just regardless, it had to be paid for. You could take it a step further back, like okay, well maybe you don't buy the actual product. You could grow your own food. I'm almost certain you're gonna have to beat and bought the land and the seeds just to plant and cultivate your food. Same thing with purchasing textiles to create your clothing, or the building materials to build your house. You gonna pay some type of money, a dollar amount, to take care of those necessities. And that's before we get into anything else. We're not talking about healthcare. We're not talking about education. We're not talking about recreation. We're not talking about any rainy day money. We're not talking about none of that money. We talking about food, clothes, and shelter. Just those three things cost a dollar amount. So with that being said, as a man, and especially in this day and age, we in the information age, we really sliding into that 2020 very quickly. Um, you got to be able to make the dollar amount, put it up, and find a way to create residual income and make sure that your child, at least, I don't know if we can go as deep these days, to say your children's children are gonna be straight off your money. That unless you got some type of generational bread, which I'm speaking into existence right now. We're gonna get this generational money through one of these media routes. But regardless, you have to have the bread. You have to have the nest egg. You have to have something put away. I know everybody like YOLO and you only live once and you gotta live for the day, not tomorrow. I understand all of that. You do need to enjoy every moment like it's your last, because it very well could be. But at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you tuck something away for your children, and possibly by the time you said and done, you have enough for his or her children too. So that's your refill for this week's or this month's or whatever, for this episode. That's your refill. Glad you could come and get your Jesus juice with me, or whatever you want to call it. Positivity, good vibes, high vibrations, whatever you want to call it. Because I know not everybody believes in the same thing, but I believe the same thing resonates around the same thing, and that's the higher power. That's the Holy Spirit. That's however you view it or look at it. So that's what that was, and this what it do. I appreciate y'all for giving me your ear one more again. And like I said, to start it all off, I do apologize, man. I've been slipping. I know. Podcast hasn't been coming out like it's supposed to, but we will be getting on a better schedule. And don't worry, I know y'all tired of hearing just my voice on here. We got plenty more coming up for y'all, especially, gotta say the same after we get this Last Man Standing album in heavy rotation, because that's what's up next on deck, followed by plenty more products, projects, and what have you coming at you very soon. As always, y'all know where to find the podcast. Y'all can go to the Anchor app or Anchor FM or anchor.fm/BLACKEARLHAAS. It's also on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Castbox, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Stitcher. It's also found up there on Stitcher. I'm supposed to slide them on YouTube. Y'all bear with me. It's taking me longer than I expected to get it on YouTube. Might have to not go to SoundCloud route. I know a couple of you guys have been listening on SoundCloud. My bad if that disappears soon. We got a few things up our sleeve for the 2019. So once again, appreciate y'all, man. Y'all already know where to find me. It's your boy, Black Earl, a.k.a. Dr. H.A.A.S. Peace be with y'all. I'll let you next time.